Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India slams Bangladesh on irresponsible statements. Says instead of making unwarranted comments, Bangladesh should focus on protecting the rights of its own minorities. Trump says EU tariff deal 100% guaranteed as he hosts Italian PM Meloni at White House. Meloni invites Trump to visit Rome. Trump says US was in talks with China on tariffs, expresses confidence that the US would reach a trade agreement with China soon. Hamas rejects Israel's latest truce proposal, says ready to release all hostages in return for an end to Gaza conflict, release of Palestinians jailed by Israel, and reconstruction of Gaza. Christians around the globe observe Good Friday to commemorate the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. India's Ministry of External Affairs has slammed Bangladesh for the comments made by its officials on the developments in West Bengal. MEA official spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said, and I quote, "We reject the remarks made by the Bangladesh side with regard to the incidents in West Bengal. This is a barely disguised and disingenuous attempt to draw a parallel with India's concerns over the ongoing persecution of minorities in Bangladesh, where the criminal perpetrators of such acts continue to roam free. Instead of making unwarranted comments and indulging in virtue signaling, Bangladesh would do better to focus on protecting the rights of its own minorities." Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita had a productive discussion with his Malaysian counterpart Datuk Muhammad Alamin in Kuala Lumpur. During the meeting, both the leaders explored ways to take forward the comprehensive strategic partnership and realize the shared vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Malaysian Prime Minister in strengthening the bilateral ties across various sectors. The ministers also exchanged perspectives on regional and global issues of mutual interest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a high-level meeting to review issues related to the cleaning of Yamuna River and Delhi's drinking water supply. Prime Minister affirmed that centre will work closely with the Delhi government to ensure world-class infrastructure and ease of living for the people of Delhi. On Tuesday, the government held its first Expenditure Finance Committee meeting for a 2025-26 and approved a project focused on cleaning the Yamuna. Under this project, the government approved the construction of 27 sewage treatment plants in the capital. Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan is currently on a 5-day visit to Brazil to attend the 15th BRICS Agriculture Ministers meeting in Brasilia. Shivraj Singh Chauhan held a strategic meeting with the Russian delegation at BRICS to strengthen agricultural cooperation between the two nations. Both sides also explored deeper collaboration in sustainable and climate-resilient agriculture. The minister acknowledged Russia's continued support and extended a cordial invitation to participate as a partner country in World Food India 2025 to be held in September. He also invited Russia to participate in the upcoming Waves Summit set to be held in Mumbai in May 2025. Sailing vessel INSV Tarini crossed the iconic Cape of Good Hope on 17th of April, marking another monumental milestone in their epic circumnavigation journey. Having successfully navigated the challenging waters of the Southern Ocean and crossed the 3 major capes, Cape of Good Hope, Cape Leeuwin and Cape Horn, the crew is now charting a course for India, fueled by determination and adventure. This remarkable feat showcases the crew's exceptional seamanship, resilience and teamwork, setting a new benchmark for Indian sailing and inspiring a nation. The cruise journey is a testament to India's growing presence in global maritime exploration and adventure. The India Meteorological Department has issued an alert for the thunderstorm and rain. It said 5 cyclonic circulations are forming in the country. Due to their effect, the weather is likely to be affected in many parts of the country. The Meteorological Department has predicted heavy rains in the eastern and northeastern states for the next 5 days. The Meteorological Department has issued an alert of severe western disturbance in the western Himalayan region in the coming days. This western disturbance may lead to rainfall in Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh on April 19. United Nations held a press conference on the status of intergovernmental negotiations on reforms of the United Nations Security Council. Tariff al-Banai, the permanent representative of the intergovernmental negotiations, said during the conference that India is a contender for an expanded Security Council. He also said that expanded Security Council may have up to 27 members and the expansion can be possible by 2030.
Of this reformed council must be representative, and obviously India is a main player in on the world stage today, but it is a membership of 193 countries, right? And the consideration is representative for everybody and the whole membership of the United Nations. So surely, if the decision is made that the expansion of the Council goes to from anywhere from 21 to 27 members, then surely India will be a contender in that and will be subject to the decision of the wider membership.
In a historic recognition of India's cultural and philosophical legacy, the Bhagavad Gita and Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra have been inscribed in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. This global honor celebrates India's eternal wisdom and artistic genius. These timeless works are more than literary treasures. They are philosophical and aesthetic foundations that have shaped Bharat's worldview and the way we think, feel, live and express. The announcement has been praised as a significant moment for the country, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi calling it a proud moment for every Indian across the world. The inclusion of the Gita and Natya Shastra in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register is a global recognition of our timeless wisdom and rich culture. The Gita and Natya Shastra have nurtured civilization and consciousness for centuries. Their insights continue to inspire the world. World Heritage Day, also known as the International Day for Monuments and Sites, is celebrated on April 18 every year. Its goal is to encourage individuals and local communities to cherish their cultural heritage. In addition to monument preservation, the day seeks to raise public awareness of the diversity and fragility of cultural assets. To celebrate the day, India's Culture Ministry has announced that no fee shall be charged from visitors to ASI-protected monuments across India on April 18. This initiative aims at encouraging visitors to explore India's rich cultural heritage. This year's theme for World Heritage Day is Heritage Under Threat from Disaster and Conflicts, where awareness is being spread on safeguarding the heritage sites from natural or man-made disasters, threats or conflicts. Today, Christians around the world are marking Good Friday, one of the most sacred days on the Christian calendar. Why it is called Good Friday despite being a sad and sorrowful day? Many believe that the origin of Good Friday is from the English term God's Friday. All over the world, people stop on this day, Good Friday, to remember, grieve, reflect and to hope.
Good Friday commemorates the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, a central figure in Christianity. According to Christian belief, Jesus, who is the second person of the Holy Trinity, was executed by crucifixion more than 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem. His death is seen not just as a moment of loss, but as an act of sacrifice and love believed to have been for the forgiveness of humanity's sins. On this day, churches around the world hold solemn services, prayers, and reenactments of Jesus' final hours. In many countries, processions are held in the streets, and some believers fast or reflect in silence. Despite being called Good Friday, The day remembers a painful and tragic event, but Christians call it good because it represents hope. The belief that Jesus' death led to new life, a message that will be celebrated on Easter Sunday. From small villages to major cities, today is a day of reflection, faith, and remembrance, uniting millions across cultures and continents. Good Friday is observed by nearly 2.4 billion Christians worldwide. And while customs vary, the message at the heart is the same, one of sacrifice, love, and hope. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi remembers the courage and sacrifices of Jesus Christ on Good Friday. Taking on to social media platform X, PM Modi said, and I quote, "On Good Friday, we remember the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. This day inspires us to cherish kindness, compassion, and always be large-hearted. May the spirit of people and togetherness always prevail." On to other stories. The Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, had been welcomed to the White House with open arms, as few other foreign visitors had been since Donald Trump's return, and she took the opportunity to assure her host that they were on the same side when it came to one existential struggle. We get you details in our next report.
US President Donald Trump and Giorgia Meloni hit an optimistic note and expressed confidence that the United States and Europe will be able to negotiate a trade deal before his 90-day pause on some tariffs ends. The two leaders struck a warm tone during a working lunch and a meeting in the Oval Office. Trump said he was 100% certain of an eventual trade deal with Europe.
Oh, there'll be a trade deal, 100%. Oh, well, you think there won't be? Of course there'll be a trade deal, very much. They want to make one very, very much, and we're going to make a trade deal. I fully expect it, but it'll be a fair deal.
Meloni positioned herself as an intermediary between the United States and Europe and was equally confident of the deal. The Italian leader said Trump had accepted an invitation to visit Rome in the near future, and he might also meet European leaders there.
Somebody calls me such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I'm sure that together we are stronger. And I have to find a way. I'm here to find the best way to make us both stronger on the two shores of the Atlantic.
Besides, the two leaders also discussed defense spending and immigration, on which Trump praised her Italian leader for her strong-armed approach to immigration in Italy, calling her an example for the rest of the Europe. A European Commission spokeswoman said that while the EU alone could negotiate trade agreements, Meloni's outreach is very welcome and was coordinated with Brussels. Following Thursday's meeting with Trump, Meloni will fly back to Rome on Friday in time to host US Vice President J.D. Vance, with whom she had a meeting planned. Bureau Report, DD India.
US President Donald Trump indicated a possible easing of tariff tensions with China, suggesting he may not raise tariffs further to avoid discouraging consumer spending. While he previously imposed 10% tariffs and later increased rates on Chinese imports, both the US and China now appears less inclined to escalate the trade conflict. Here's a report.
US President Donald Trump said on Thursday that the United States was in talks with China on tariffs. A day after saying that the ball is in China's court, Trump on Thursday signaled a potential end to the tit-for-tat tariff hikes that shocked markets. Although his administration has hinted that the possibility of securing up to 90 trade deals during the 90-day pause in tariffs. Trump tempered expectations, saying that any agreements would come at a certain point, downplaying the urgency of a fast-track timeline.
At a certain point, yeah, we're in no rush. We're in no rush. Moving along very nicely, and we're going to end up with a baseline of a substantial number, which we never got anything. You know, the United States never got anything. Oh, we're going to make a deal. We'll have a deal. I think we're going to make a very good deal with China.
Speaking in Oval Office, Trump said that China and the US are in talks to make a deal on tariffs, and that it can be made over the next 3 or 4 weeks. The president was cagey when asked if he had spoke directly with Chinese President Xi Jinping, despite having dropped several hints in the past that he has.
I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to continue. And I would say they have reached out a number of times.
Xi or they?
Well, the same. I view it very similar. It would be top levels of China. And if you knew him, you would know that if they reached out, he knew exactly. He knew everything about it. He runs it very tight, very strong, very smart. And yeah, we're talking to China.
Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Cambodia was being seen as a charm offensive in Southeast Asia, where he has also stopped by Vietnam and Malaysia in the wake of the US tariffs that hit the region hard. Meanwhile, the Trump administration shielded on Thursday domestic exporters and vessel owners servicing the Great Lakes, the Caribbean, and the US territories from port fee to be levied on China's built vessels, aiming to revive US shipbuilding. The Federal Register notice posted by the US Trade Representative was watered down from a February proposal for a fees on China-built ships for up to $1.5 million per port, call that sent a chill through the global shipping industry. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Tension escalates between US and Yemen, at least 38 killed in strike. Carney faces off with chief rival during first Canada debate. PM Modi hails Indian women's hockey stalwart Vandana Kataria's illustrious career.
Nature gives and we take, and sometimes a little too much. But what happens when this balance tips, and who is the most impacted? Let's take a look at some of the solutions that are trying to help these communities.
We want to encourage people to consume more local products. These were caught in environmentally friendly nets, not farmed. That makes a huge difference.
Project Tangaroa. It's working to build a global framework that can help identify which wrecks need to be taken care of first and find the funding for cleanup missions.
We use Esler organic fertilizer for our plants. With organic fertilizer, the yield is better and the soil's health improves.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Ukraine and the United States on Thursday signed a memorandum as an initial step towards the clinching of an agreement on developing minerals in Ukraine. Kyiv's first Deputy Prime Minister and Economy Minister Yulia Sviridenko did not publish details of the memorandum but said work continued towards securing a final agreement. Kyiv and Washington had discussed signing a deal on extracting Ukraine's strategic minerals in February, but a clash between US President Trump and Ukraine's President Zelensky temporarily derailed work on the agreement. Trump administration appears to have softened the stance on the minerals deal with Ukraine. Trump said that he wants the deal, designed to give the US royalty payments on profits from Ukrainian mining of resources and rare minerals.
Deal which I guess is going to be signed on Thursday, Scott, next Thursday, soon. And I assume they're going to live up to the deal, so we'll see. But we have a deal on that. No, I have no comment on that. I have no idea. That's his statement, not mine.
The second round of nuclear talks between US and Iranian officials is scheduled to take place in Rome on Saturday, while Oman's foreign ministry will continue to mediate. Let's now take a look at the timeline of the key comments from Trump and Iranian leaders ahead of the second round of talks. US Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met for 45 minutes last Saturday in Oman. Both sides called first rounds of talks positive while acknowledging that any potential deal remains distant. Trump, who abandoned an earlier nuclear deal with Iran during his first term in 2018, said on Monday he was willing to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities if a new deal was not reached. However, on Thursday, Trump asserted that he is not in a rush to do it because he thinks Iran has a chance to have a great country. Earlier on Wednesday, Araghchi had said that Iran's right to enrich uranium is not negotiable. Ahead of the second round of talks, Russian President Vladimir Putin held talks at the Kremlin with Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on Thursday in Kremlin. Araghchi delivered a message from Iran's leader Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei to President Putin. He explained that the message concerns international and regional developments as well as bilateral issues. Russia, a long-standing ally of Tehran, plays a role in Iran's nuclear negotiations with the West as a veto-wielding UNSC member and a signatory to an earlier nuclear deal. West says Iran is refining uranium to a high degree of fissile purity beyond what is justifiable for a civilian nuclear energy program and close to a level suitable for an atomic bomb. Iran denies seeking nuclear weapons and says it has a right to a civilian nuclear program. Hamas on Thursday rejected Israel's latest proposal of partial Gaza truce. In a televised speech, Khalil al-Haya, who leads the Hamas negotiating team for indirect talks with Israel, said the group refused an interim truce deal. He said Hamas was ready to immediately negotiate a deal to swap all hostages for an agreed number of Palestinians jailed by Israel and the reconstruction of Gaza as part of a broader deal to end the conflict. Egyptian mediators have been working to revive the January ceasefire agreement that halted fighting in Gaza before breaking down last month, but there has been little sign of progress, with both Israel and Hamas blaming each other for the lack of deal. Israel restarted its offensive in Gaza in March, and talks to try to restore the ceasefire have so far failed to achieve a breakthrough. Tension between US and Yemen further escalated as the United States military struck the Ras Issa fuel port in western Yemen to cut off a source of fuel for Iran-backed Houthi militants. A Houthi health ministry spokesman said on X the attack killed at least 38 people and injured dozens of port's workers. The US began large-scale strikes last month against Iran-aligned Houthis, saying it won't stop unless they cease their attacks on Red Sea shipping. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney faced sustained attacks from his Conservative rival at an election debate on Thursday, but the Liberal leader sought to focus attention on what he calls Canada's top threat, President Donald Trump. Most opinion polls show Pierre Poilievre's Conservative Party is trailing Carney Liberals ahead of the April 28 vote, but the race remains tight, and Poilievre worked hard at the debate to stem Liberal momentum that has picked up since Carney replaced Justin Trudeau as Prime Minister on March 14. As the campaign has evolved, Poilievre has increasingly sought to do both, condemning Trump while accusing the Liberals of weakening the economy during Trudeau's decade in power and leaving Canada vulnerable to hostile US policies. Poilievre, who has served in Parliament for 2 decades, consistently tried to brand Carney as an extension of Trudeau, who became deeply unpopular toward the end of his tenure. Now some business updates. And Japanese core inflation accelerated in March to 3.2% from 3.0% in February. The year-on-year rise in consumer prices, excluding fresh food, in world's 4th biggest economy was in line with market expectations. Excluding energy as well, price rose 2.9% compared to 2.6% in February. But overall inflation eased to 3.6% from 3.7%. Grain prices rose 25.4%, with rice prices logging an enormous 92.5% jump. And now some sports news. Ace Indian quest Saurav Kothari clinched the 2025 IBSF World Billiards title after an out-and-out victory over multiple-time winner Pankaj Advani in the final in Ireland. The Q Sports world witnessed an unforgettable clash between two of India's finest, Kothari and Advani, for the coveted title at the Snooker and Billiards Island Academy. 40-year-old Kothari emerged as champion, scoring 725 points to Advani's 480. His brilliant break of 325 was the standout moment of the match, and it was one of the finest efforts in recent championship history. Kothari also notched up breaks of 119 and 112, showcasing exceptional composure, focus and cue control. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi penned down heartfelt letter to Indian women's hockey stalwart Vandana Kataria, recognizing her outstanding contribution to Indian hockey. The hockey stalwart expressed her heartfelt gratitude to PM Modi after receiving a personal letter of appreciation on the occasion of her retirement from international hockey. In a social media post, Vandana said it was a proud moment for her to receive such recognition from the Prime Minister. On 1st of April, the 32-year-old forward officially announced her retirement from international hockey, bringing to a close a remarkable career that began in 2009. Vandana retired as India's most capped women's hockey player with 320 international appearances and 158 goals, leaving behind a legacy unmatched in country's hockey history. Carlos Alcaraz overcame a second-set wobble to defeat Laslo Dere 6-2, 6-4 on Thursday to reach the Barcelona Open quarterfinals. Alcaraz won the tournament in 2022 and 2023 and needed only 71 minutes to finish him. Home favourite Alcaraz saved both breakpoints he faced in first set stroll, with Dere unable to produce a single winner. The four-time Grand Slam winner won 5 games straight to claim a first set lead. In the second set also, Alcaraz bounced back quickly after Dere offered more of a fight. Alcaraz will next face fifth seed Alex de Minaur in quarterfinal match on Friday. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.
Nature gives